today during Kwanzaa, ceremonially, we light a new candle. You know, we start off with you know, the unity candle in the middle, you know, for Umoja. You know, we move out to the red Kujichigalia, and so on and so forth. You know, until the whole Kanara is lit up. You know, when you have your house, you know, dark, it's actually a beautiful sight, you know, to do with your family there. Speaking of families, I also have here, you know, representing the harvest, I have a basket. I actually have, you know, African cloth that's actually from Tanzania. And in the basket representing both the harvest and the children in our house, you know, we just have some fruit here. You know, you can use fruit, you know, some people use corn, but just representing the first harvest. You know, I actually have 2 apples here, you know, representing our girls here, and, you know, orange representing, you know, our little boy, TJ. So, yeah, so what I like to do is just get into the ceremony. So we do it like this every day. Habari Gani. Yes, today is the 3rd day of Kwanzaa, so the correct answer would be UJIMA. UJIMA means collective works and responsibilities. So that's us working together, us understanding that your problem is my problem, and that we're intertwined and that we have inner destinies as Black people here in America. So today, on our 3rd day of Kwanzaa, we've already lit the unity candle for Umoja. We've already lit the first red candle, you know, for Kujichigalia. Now we're moving into UJIMA for today. So as I light this candle, stay with me. UJIMA. May the principles of Kwanzaa carry through not just through these 7 days, but every day of the year.
I just wanted to just dive in because two are 2 fierce female travelers. I mean, JC has just told me that, you know, she feels like she's an alumni, but I still kind of want to bring it home where, you know, we have women, especially women of color, who do travel, especially in the African diaspora, solo. Right here, we have someone that Georgia is living there now as we speak. So Georgia, can you tell us that story of when you decided to go to Africa? How did you get there, and how did you end up staying?
My journey actually began more than 20 years, about 25 years or so. I've supposed to been traveling to the motherland forever, but never got around to doing it solo as opposed to with work. I had to detox a lot of the things that was wrong with me, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it in the States. So it's very difficult to heal when your oppressors are still overfoot. So it's always best to get out. You know, when you're in a bad marriage, you don't want to stay in the marriage and live in the house with the person and figure that you're going to fix yourself while the person is still in the house with you and you're still there. So it's always best to get out, right, to leave and go to some place that is going to be conducive in helping you recover better. So part of my thing was I have to leave. I had the dream, the awakening, the time, or the wherewithal. The ancestors basically said, get the hell out, and you have this amount of time before you get out. And since February 22nd, 2017, which is my rebirth day, since that day of awakening, so to speak, I listen to what I'm told and I just do it without question. Mm-hmm. Whatever your intuition is telling you, do it. Yes. Because it's telling you to do it for a reason. And we have a way of not listening to our intuition when it says, girl, run. We don't tend to run. We tend to make excuses why we're afraid to move. So I was told to get out before December of this year. And I took my last 5,000 that I had saved, you know, saving a little bit of money, you know, even in the middle of hell, and this pandemic and everything. I took my 5,000 and I told my best friend Kwesi, I was like, hey, you ain't got to come with me, bro, but I'm out. I'm going without you. And what he did was he's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna get what I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna see if I can get some what are those guys that do those tour guides. He
Yes.
said, so I'm gonna get some tour guides and get some things together, and we can go do the tracing that you really want to do. Or you want to trace your background, you want to do that, we can go do that. And I said, even if I was like, hey, even if you don't come, dude, I'm out. So just have the tour guide meet me at the airport. So he made himself available, and he was able to come with. And literally that's how I got here, because I left from Mexico. I did a whole road trip going through to Mexico, from Atlanta to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I came back just in time to board the plane 4 days prior, take my PCR, do whatever so I can get out, and just got out. And as soon as I got here, it was as if I just returned home.
Mm.
There's no feeling I can explain it, because I've been searching for home all my life. So
Mm-hmm.
it was if I just returned home. So I and through going through the last bath, going through not really the trail, but the last bath, the door of no return, all the castles, all the travels that I've gone through, seeing everything that I've seen my villages, everything that correlates to how I grew up in Jamaica is here. The words the same, the people the same.
The
Through going
food
through
the
that,
same.
the food the same. We have the same mannerisms in a sense. It's just that we are the more aggressive of the two of the
Well, who's
group,
the more aggressive?
and
The
I
weak part?
realized why.
Who's what part of that?
We as in Jamaicans are the more aggressive of the two, but there's a reason for that separation as why
Yes.
we are so aggressive.
All that trauma.
But that's another story. That's another story. But we are the warriors that were removed from this place,
Mm-hmm.
and the survivors of our ancestors, of what we had to go through. So we are a little bit more aggressive. We are a little bit more in your face, and we're going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us that are there have to come back home, so we can shed light on the things that colonialism has not haven't gotten rid of here, or have put in place here. So when I got here and seeing what I saw, I was like, I'm not going back. Of course, Kwesi's like, I'm not leaving your ass here. That's not happening. And I'm like, that's sweet. Like, you think you have a choice, but thank you. That's sweet, but I'm staying.
Yes.
I found someone here that I met 27 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
On the night that I returned to Accra. The person that I met 27 years ago just happened to be in the cubicle beside me. I am currently living in her home because she is in another part of Africa. She's in Tanzania, in her other luxurious house.
Yes.
Yes. So since I have returned, all the people that I have encountered are people that I have met in passing, or traveled the same paths while I was in the US and other places unknowingly.
Yeah, so things are just like lining up organically for you. So yeah, that's
Yes.
And when things happen like that, when things just like there's no struggle, there's no, exertion, I think that journey is beautiful. So JC, I wanted to bring you in just to talk to you about your experience in traveling, like across, you've been to a few countries in Africa. Can you tell us where you've been?
Yeah, and then I'm reminiscing on Ghana, because it was one of the places that my father, who's Jamaican, was living there for a while, and he said to me, this is where non-mixed Jamaicans are from Ghana. And the experience that I had with him traveling, he's Rastafarian, he was just basically going back and repatriation and taking his own journey, and I was there following along. So it's also, I was very privileged to be able to do that, but just to, it's not something that you just get up and do. It's something within you that's basically developing slowly, and with that growth, you just take the step forward. So yes, I've been to Ghana. I spent maybe a month there, just, you know, lying on the beach and visiting the Gold Coast, and just, you know, going to Emlina Castle and just being with the people. The nice thing about West Africa is the food and the people. I feel the culture is so rich and strong there. I've also been to Senegal, which is, you know, I'm French speaking as well. So I loved just, again, food, people, music, culture, and just how welcoming everyone is there. You know, you're a part of the family, even though you're not in the, you know, their family. I've been to Ethiopia a few times, and I've also been to Morocco. So Africa basically came post school, post professional development. It was almost as if it was later on in life. And so every time I return, it's always a joy. And also, you know, as a well-seasoned traveler, I always think to myself, oh, I've seen everything, been everywhere. But every time I go to Africa, it's like another world, you know, and there's just so much, the depth, it goes a long way. So much deeper than Europe, or, you know, it's just, or North America or the Caribbean. It just goes very, very, you know, the history and the just traditions and the conversations, and yeah, it's a wonderful place to visit and to get away from, you know, from the phones, and, you know, just nice to kind of not have Wi-Fi all the time. It's okay,
Right?
you know, to survive.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Because you don't. That's true.
So as two women who, you know, who have traveled extensively, I wanted you, you know, since in the spirit of UJIMA, because there are women sitting at home watching this now thinking that they can't do that. And here we are, three women of color, proving that, you know, you can travel the world, right? One of the tips, one of the things that comes to mind is safety. Like, how do we do that safely, right? And before we get into that, I want you guys to share with me of a time, and JC, I have a story, but it involves you when we were in Paris, of a time when you didn't feel safe, when things just felt really sketchy. You know, I'll allow you to think on that for a bit. But JC, our story was when we were taking the metro. I think it was my first trip to see you in Paris. And this was like my first solo international trip abroad. And there's JC living, you know, by the Champs-Elysees in the arrondissement. And I was like, big friend, let me come see you. Went to see JC. So, you know, she had her day job. So we would only meet like in the evening. So on this particular weekend though, we were taking the metro, and I noticed that there was this guy, like we took like 2, maybe 3 trains, and this guy just kept following us. Like he was on every single train. And like at the time, being a New Yorker, I'm like, something is really sketchy. So we were shopping, and we were walking, and then we went down the street. Every street we go down, this guy was behind us, every single street. So then finally, I stopped and I turned, and like for people who are not Jamaican, I don't know if I can translate. We turned around and said, listen, we're on a regular tourist. You brought and with one piece of cussing, and then he just like, you know, so in confronting that, and especially doing it in a public space, like who knows if this man would catch us down some kind of alley. But, you know, basically, I just remember saying like, we're not regular tourists. Yep.
Yeah.
Expletives, you know?
So yeah, I think you touched a point. Is basically, you know, you do what you do normally in New York or Jamaica or anywhere else in the world. You take that same kind of attitude and try to not seem too vulnerable. You know, he saw 2 vulnerable foreigners speaking English.
Who he thought.
Right, exactly. That's what he saw. So, but basically, you know, you just need to not, you know, wither away, and, you know, you just have to bring that confidence out and to really, you know, language is a powerful tool. And, you know, I think, especially when you're saying, Georgia, that Jamaicans are aggressive, you know, when we speak patois, that's when the expression comes out, and, you know, you don't want to mess with, you know, when, you know, it takes you off from top to bottom, you know, and so, so that was an experience that we were together, Diana, but there has been other experiences on my own, going to concerts in Paris, large crowds, you know, there's lots of guys around. I'd go to soccer games, same thing, you know, you get harassed by, you know, guys or whatever, because they see that you're alone. And so it's a thing, you know. And so again, you know, you just kind of raise your voice and, you know, blurt out 2 words in patois, and it's like, oh, wake up, you know, this is not somebody I can just, you know, come and take advantage of. So you do the same thing that you would do
true.
at home.
That's true. I mean, honestly, in traveling in the European countries, more so than I've only been to 3 African countries, but honestly, this is the safest I've ever felt.
Yeah,
is when I'm in an African country. I don't feel safe. I've been to Paris, didn't feel safe there. England, same thing. You know, I don't feel safe elsewhere, but for some reason with a sea of beautiful Black faces, and I'm the safest. I don't feel safe in certain neighborhoods in New York.
Right.
Still to this day, even
Of
though
course.
the shootings and the stuff is like, just growing up in New York, there's certain places that you still don't feel safe, right? But even amongst our own people, in certain areas, you're not going there because you don't feel safe. You don't know anybody. Boom. The same attitude that you would walk around with in the US. When it comes to Africa, I don't know about Europe or any other place, but I know here, I don't have to walk around with that attitude here. I feel supported. I feel safe. I'm walking around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on my village, like in my areas in Accra, in Damfa, in Abri, you name it. I'm walking around at 1 o'clock in the morning, safe as anything. Why? Because there are young people like on the street walking around with me. Or if there aren't, there are other people. You understand? Like, there are people around, and even if there's no one around, that safety, that feeling of fear of that someone might rob me, hurt me, whatever, it's not here. It's not here. So I don't have to walk around with that same, oh, I'm finna get you, like I walk around
I would
with
agree
when
with
I'm
that.
other places.
Yeah, there's no point in time when traveling through Africa that I felt unsafe. And I think these, like, Ghana is stable, and Ghana is very community. There's a big difference between community and society. So basically, community, everyone knows everyone, and if they don't know you, they know your grandmother or your cousin or something.
Village-based.
Exactly.
Yes,
and so
yes, they know your family members, and you're part of the tribe. So for someone to actually do something to you, the whole entire place comes out.
yes.
Oh, no, you don't do that. Don't touch her. No, that's Jamaica. That's what I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue here. I'm literally a part of the village. So
I think
I
that's
have people that
wonderful.
come to help me.
I think
If there's
that's
a conflict, if there is conflict too, it's not just between 2 people. I remember one instance, in Ghana, we were taking a taxi somewhere, and the taxi man didn't understand. And my father and the taxi man, catch up in argument. And so they're on the side of the road, having it out. And this lady with her baby walks up, and she comes up and she's like, but to the taxi man, but he's a stranger. You need to take him where he needs to go. And she's there, the mediator.
Yes.
This random woman will not pass by, but she was there to, like, this. If there's a conflict, everyone's going to be involved in trying to find a resolution.
It's a group
and that's
conflict.
amazing.
You're right.
Can imagine Daddy. Yes, I can imagine Daddy on the side.
Yeah, it's that was. You know what?
The Rastaman and the taxi man. It sounds like a screenplay, not a Rastaman and the taxi.
Exactly. Very entertaining. But when you're trying to go somewhere and you're trying to be somewhere, it's just like, a day in the life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be. It definitely can be. It definitely can be.
One of the things. It's
a different thing.
So I think one of the things that I've gotten from both of you, and I would agree, is that definitely in terms of safety, follow your gut, right? Follow your gut and take up space as a woman, especially if you're traveling alone, right? Because
but also if you don't mind me interjecting, but also please plan. Please make sure you're doing your research on where you're going, because things will pop off in certain countries, or things are sort of in like a Tinder right now. We're literally living in a Tinder box. So anywhere that you're visiting, please know what's going on there before you go.
Yeah, and
because anything can happen.
That was me through when I went to Burma, Myanmar, and at the time Aung San Suu Kyi had just gotten off of house arrest. And I'd planned the trip already because I've always wanted to go, and I was going to go in a hot balloon and go over Bagan and just do all these amazing things. And I still went, but it did feel like the country at the time was a powder keg. And also Obama, and it's part of my theory, like, you know, everywhere country I visited in Southeast Asia, Obama was there. I'm like, he's following me. But was also it was his first visit to Myanmar, and like I would just see, it was I took this picture where you had monks standing next to like military men with guns, and it was just such a juxtaposition of images. This big M16 gun and a bald-headed monk in a red robe, you know. So definitely, of course, do your research. Do us getting talks. I don't know, what does that look like to you guys for researching? When I'm researching a country, I'll go to like different groups, like Facebook groups, expat groups. Definitely get on some international newspapers, and just read around that. But mostly I go to Facebook. I don't know what that looks like for you guys.
Right. I try to find someone that I know that might know someone in that country.
Yeah, that's a good tip too.
That's always a good one, because what you might get in the news, what you might get that's broadcast, is not always the truth. So I tend to not look at their news clippings or what the advisory tells us to do, more so than I look at what. You know, the travel advisories are
very political. Very political travel advisories.
It's
for sure.
politics.
Yeah.
It's politics. So I tend to just go find a friend that knows somebody that's from that place. And if I can't find somebody that knows somebody, that's when the online works. But I'd prefer to speak to a person or people that have been to the place or that are living currently in the place before I go to the place. Otherwise, I'm setting myself up for failure, because you're traveling to where you have no information. You don't want to do that.
Right.
So that, I would agree with you, Georgia. Basically, it's word of mouth. And then it's also the practical side of it is what in the country is interesting to you, and, basically doing the research around. And there's loads of travel magazines, so word of mouth travel magazines, just, stay abreast of the news there. You don't want to go to a country when there's a state of emergency. And as I said, I'm a seasoned, this is my Lonely Planet back in the day.
Oh
like,
my God.
Why would I travel? But this is what, this is before smartphones, right? So,
okay.
Yeah. So
back in the 90s.
Or the 2000s, And so basically you'd be, because sometimes you'd be sleeping somewhere in one town, and then the next day you wouldn't know where you go, but you just page through and like, oh, okay, and sometimes they didn't have websites back in the day and stuff like that, or you didn't know. Right. So, and you had to get your little, top up your little phone card or whatever. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is that this word of mouth, it's also paying attention to wider news. And then it's also typical guides where you have, a specific, because these are all vetted places, and I'm sure there's a social, it's a digital version of that. The other thing is Google Maps, really helpful. You're interested in going to a place, you want to just zoom in and see, what accommodations are around. People have loads of reviews as well, free, had a great time staying in a mom and pop, you know, bed and breakfast or whatever. And so that's really helpful. And then TripAdvisor. I mean, these are things that, you know, were useful for me.
Mhm.
Right.
So, you know, we're approaching the end of our time, and I just wanted to ask you ladies, for the women who are sitting at home watching this, who are, you know, still feeling scared, and here we are, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Let's not, you know, kid ourselves. But, you know, as, you know, when all of this is over, you know, when it's safe enough for us to travel, what advice would you have to give the women who are holding themselves back from traveling? Because I think, and you know, part of the thing with urban SASS, you know, the travel movement, is that it's allowing women to break through mentally, because travel is not just a physical experience for me. It's a journey through the mind, and if I can picture myself in this space. And not only that, can I break free of all the stuff that I have to do here at home in order to break free and work through it. So there's a mental process that's involved. And those are the women that I'm interested in the mental, in dealing with the mental process of saying, I deserve this and I can do this. What would you have to say to those women?
Well, first of all, you know, yeah, it's a personal growth, and you know, I think that, you know, you just, it's, as I said, it's something leading up. So, you know, I remember my first flight on my own was 14 years old, international flight, and so it was a big deal. But, you know, I think that if I put myself back into that kind of first time on your own kind of thing, you know, that the fear that you feel is not a bad fear. It's a fear of newness and, you know, taking a step forward and growth. I think, you know, you should probably have like a financial kind of plan, a baseline. Traveling outside of the US, depending on where you're going, can be very cost effective, cheaper than living in the US, you know? And so, you know, you just basically come up with how much a day do I need to travel, and then make your travel plan, how many days you want to spend outside. I think that most of the times, from what I understand, the cost is more in the tickets, but the room and board is, you know, and then, you know, just walking around is an activity, you know,
Right.
so, and that's free, you know, it's just, you are there to, you know, be as flexible, but and sometimes have planned activities as well, and that's not going to be costly. So there's a financial aspect. There's a thing about getting over, you know, your fear of being on your own, being a woman of color overseas. What's that going to feel like, you know? And also, just know that you know, you're not completely on your own. Other women are doing this as well.
Precisely.
There's an online community. There's always something, you know. And so don't be too prescriptive. Don't feel like you need to plan every step of the way. Be a little flexible as well. So there's some planning and there's some flexibility. And then journaling. Journaling helps to that fear when you're, you know, you've spent a fantastic day walking around, talking to people, you know, just write it, whatever, send an email to someone. You know, journaling is very good to kind of, is part of that personal growth process. And I think even years later, you look back on it and it's like better than gold or a nice piece of jewelry when you look through and the feeling that you get. So those are some of the things that come to mind.
Thank you for that.
Okay. For me, what was the question again? Giving advice? What was that? Because you know,
yeah.
All right, giving advice. Look, honestly, you're right when you said it is a personal journey. It's a spiritual journey that I do believe that all Black women, especially women that have been in the U.S., Black women that grow up or that have lived in any of the plantations in North America, I do believe it is a must that you need to become in touch with who you really are and leave behind the things that no longer serves you, and take that leap out there and leave that fear behind, and know that there are so many different countries out here, that there are women that look just like you, that are just like you, that are trying to shed that old that old regime and that learned behavior of what we have taught ourselves to be super women, and we don't take the breaks and we don't take the time, and we are the savior for everybody else. We're the mother, the father, the sister, the brother. You're the doctor, the nurse, the healthcare provider, the psychologist. You are everything to everyone and nothing to yourself.
Yeah.
And I do truly believe that it is a spiritual journey that you have to take. My advice is ask yourself, do you have regrets in life? If there's some place you'd like to go, and if there are any regrets that you have, if you were to die tomorrow, what would you change? If you had the choice of seeing that, hey, if tomorrow's my last day on earth, what would I want to do? What would I want to have done before I die? And whatever that answer is, if traveling is in there and if going to some place is in there, then do it. There's no advice for me other than to live a life that is without regrets. That's it. It doesn't matter which way you do it, just live it without regrets. And if that means getting up and leaving and going somewhere else, do that. Because you only have one person to be responsible for at the end of your life, and that's you. And if you don't feel fulfilled by the time this journey is over, then you have not taken advantage of everything that you were supposed to while you had your chance here. So my only advice is get up and go. Quit living in fear.
I think there, you know, when I'm listening to you, Georgia, there's this saying that comes, and I don't know if it's like if it's a Buddhist saying or a Tibetan, but it says everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not yet all right, it's not yet the end.
Then it's not the end. There you go. I love that. That's one of mine. Namaste. I love that.
It's served me well over the years. So at the top of this hour, we talked about your new name. So tell us that story quickly, and what your new name is, because I've known you since college and I've known you as Georgia. Now as the new name, and talk to me.
Okay, well, when I went to the Wall of Return, there's a Wall of Return that you get to go when you go to the last bath. And after being in that water and I came out, you're supposed to write your name on the wall. Write the ancestral names and all the names that you come from on the wall. So I wrote my name, I wrote both my grandmother's name, but my mother's name, not my mother's name, but my great grandmother's name on the wall. But I did not want to finish writing that name because that name is not my name. My name was taken from me before I left this place. So I refused to place a name, the European name that was given to me on there. So I had a name in ceremony, and the name that was given to me was Mami Efwa Segua Nshoma. So it was literally the name, my name. It means well, you can look up the daggone meaning, but it means pathfinder. It means seeker of knowledge. It means fighter, and it also means tiller of the earth and star. My last name is Starad. The name Nshoma is star. So it's funny that the name that was given to me was already the name that I had. And the ceremony when it was done at the Fanti chief's house. And he took us out to the back and did a whole blessing, to the ancestors, and it was right by a banana tree. And the banana tree was where my mother planted my belly button, the afterbirth. Planted a banana tree in Jamaica. So I was sitting there looking, and I'm going, this is unreal. This makes no sense to me as to why this man's altar is at the base of the last banana tree. So I'm laughing towards this, and then I heard of his hogs, the pigs, the chicken, and the goats had just come back in, and the pig had piglets, and all of them are sitting there, a procession behind me at my naming ceremony. And I had since, for the last, I think 6 years, meat had not touched my mouth. I had refused to eat meat. One day I get up and couldn't eat meat. So I'm looking at the procession of my animals, enjoying, the rooster and the goat and the chicken and the pig them. and joined my naming ceremony. So that's my new name. My new name, or it's really my old name that I left here with, because the chief gave me the name of his grandmother. And he said, I was told that this is your name and this is what I'm supposed to give you. So now that you are part of the family, you are now my daughter, even though you are my grandmother. So you have to show up and you have to be here at the procession when we have it in February. So I felt very blessed to have returned. So it wasn't as if I was given a new name. I was given my name. So I went back to the wall of return and placed that name, my name, back on the wall of return. In so doing, it started raining, but it did not rain on me while I wrote my name.
Yeah.
So I feel that I have returned home. So no one's going to get me from returning home. So hence my name is Mami Segwa. Mami Efwa Segwa Nstroma. That's my new name. So that's the name that I go by. And that's the name that I've changed. I've changed my name to that.
That's
Well,
beautiful.
what a powerful story, and what a
is.
way to end this hour. And I just want to thank you, Mami
Efwa Segwa.
Efwa Segua,
Thank you.
and
Yes.
JC Cesaire for just being with me, spending some time and enlightening other folks that, you know, it is indeed possible. And once you free your mind, honestly, the rest will follow. Come on, in Vogue.
Yes, nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear. So we're going to round out today's presentation with some choreography from Andrea Queens, who's based out in London. Greetings, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
Us. Another fierce female. So Andrea, you are in London, and tell us a little bit about how the choreography came about and what we're about to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I like being on this Zoom with lots of beautiful women, and the energy feels great. I caught the last bit of that conversation, and yeah, it sparked something in me. So thank you. And so to get into your question, basically Kwaku, who is the creative producer of this project, we worked together before when he used to live in London, and we've been speaking recently, and he reached out to me and said, look, do you like this piece of music? And I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, this is really nice actually. So he told me about the project, and then he asked me to basically get on board with the project as a whole. From our perspective, from my perspective, I was thinking, okay, how can I make the most out of this project? And I offered to have some of my youth company come on board and yeah, basically dance the choreography and input in the choreography also.
So how was that like for, like, because, you know, Kwanzaa is an African-American celebration. So what was that like from, you know, the Black European perspective?
I think from, so my organization is called AQ Arts, and basically we work in the West London area, but particularly in Brent. And in Brent, it's really diverse. So there's lots of different people, but there's also a high population of people from Black, African or Caribbean, the diaspora in that sense. And for me, part of my work with the youth company, the AQ Arts Youth Company, is basically to, you know, introduce them to the arts, get them to learn a little bit more about arts of the African diaspora, because although we do lots of different styles, that is something that's really important to me and is an undertone of our organization. So it just felt right to say, actually, this is something new you can learn about in terms of culture, because we do arts, culture, and well-being. So it makes so much sense for us to say, okay, this is a celebration. This is a time where, you know, African Americans can look at principles from the African continent, and for us to look at how that's been brought over, how that lives out today, because we do the same thing, but we might do it through a Caribbean lens or British lens or something like that. So it's just interesting to look at things from the wider perspective and see how that affects you or how you've carried the same thing. It's history, and I love history. Yeah.
Likewise. Well, thank you so much. Looking forward to this presentation. Thank you, ladies, for being with me. Wishing you all a wonderful Kwanzaa, a beautiful, bountiful, prosperous, ton up 2022. Big up everybody. I can't wait to see you
Yeah.
in person. I can't wait till we're free up and we can take plane again.
Absolutely. Keep traveling, y'all.
Keep
Thank you,
traveling.
Please
Diana.
do.
Enough love.
Please
Take
do.
care.
Yes.
Bye.
It's
Take
been
care.
a pleasure, ladies. Nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Principles, 7